The Life Cleric is the most cleric of all clerics. It's the quintessential priest, except for it comes in heavy armor, and it comes with blessed strikes, which suggests that it wants to be on the front line smacking people with the sword wearing heavy armor, which feels way more like a paladin than a priest. I wanted to do a standard true priest build. This is the True Priest. I want to give a big shout out and thank you to the sponsor of this video, Obvious Mimic. Obvious Mimic has an awesome line of t-shirts and I'm wearing one right now. This is the Water Deep t-shirt. So basically you can be a tourist in a lot of different D&D locations and bring some merch back from your adventures. But that's not the only line they have. They have another line with things like Mind Flayer Hypnotherapy. Basically you take a monster and you mix it with a career and now you have a cool mixture shirt. I love these ones. Here are a couple examples. A lot of times when you get one of these shirts, the quality sucks, but I can say from experience that their quality is awesome and you can get a discount in the link down below. Without further ado, the True Priest. Starting off with our lineage, we're going to go Radiant Soul ASMR. Mostly because it's just the perfect flavor for a priest. Honestly, you could do a ton of different lineages, but by going Radiant Soul ASMR, sometimes we're going to be able to fly, we're going to have a little bit of extra healing, we're going to come with the light cantrip, as well as some other goodies. Overall, it just hits that priest flavor just right, so that's what we're going with here. When it comes to our stats, we're going to have our primary in Wisdom, secondary in Constitution, and anything extra put into Dexterity, with a minimum of Dexterity at 14. When it comes to our leveling structure, we're going to be doing 3 levels into Stars Druid, and then we're going to be taking 17 levels into Life Domain Cleric. So let's talk about these early levels. Why are we going Druid? Usually, Druids give clerics a debuff to their armor, but I kind of wanted that. I don't want to be a heavy armor wearer. When I think of a priest, I think of someone more midline or backline who's focused on healing allies, dishing out some damage, and then doing some support spells, not a frontliner. And so by Druids having worse armor, it actually helps the flavor in my perspective. So we're going to start off with hide armor, a shield. We're going to take a staff with Shillelagh, which I will flavor as more of a glowing holy staff. Even though we're going Druid, I'm definitely pushing the cleric priest flavor here and not really focusing on nature. We also want to make sure to pick up a holy symbol at this point. Besides Shillelagh, we have another cantrip. I would pick up guidance here, but we're going to get it for free next level. And so picking up probably a long-ranged attack cantrip makes sense. But as far as flavor goes, I think Shape Water is what I'd go with, because I'm sure we can do something fun with Shape Water and Holy Water at some point. I like that idea. But because for these first 3 levels we're going to be in Druid, we're probably going to pick up an attack cantrip, maybe Frostbite, maybe Thorn Whip, anything that you can get your hands on. Produce Flame might be the most cleric-y, so maybe go with that. Of course, we're also getting Wisdom Saves at proficiency, which is always fantastic. And then we're going to get our first level spells. I'm looking at something like Fairy Fire. Just feels more cleric-y than, say, Entangle. Next up is level 2, and this is a big jump for us because we get Stars Druid, and Stars Druid does so much for this build. Thing number 1 it does is it gives us a proficiency bonus guiding bolts per day for free. And that just gives us more DPR as a cleric, and it stays in that cleric flavor and just lets us use guiding bolt a whole bunch, which is a great spell. Then we're going to get our constellation styles, which of course I'm going to flavor more like angels embodying us. You know, the archer would be an angel similar to the Avenger Angel. One of the nice things is by doing guiding bolt and then doing bonus action archery constellation shot, we can give ourselves advantage on that shot, which is pretty nice. And that's what's great about these constellations. Every one of them is usable. The archery style gives us more of that smiting from a distance vibe. The chalice gives us more healing when we do what we're going to be doing, which is healing a butt ton. Then we have the dragon, which won't come into play right away, but as we get into later levels is going to be crucial for maintaining concentration on fantastic healing spells. And the last thing we're going to get here is guidance for free, which is just a huge flavor win because the priest guides its flock. Here, there was a debate for me. We could go into Cleric right away, or we can take 1 more level into Druid. The only reason we do that is to get Healing Spirit and Wither and Bloom. Healing Spirit represents a sustained heal, which we wouldn't be getting until Cleric 5 otherwise. And I didn't want to wait until Cleric 5 before I was doing sustained healing, so I bit the bullet and took this extra level of Druid. With it comes Wither and Bloom, which, especially if you have a Barbarian, is a fantastic burst heal option for them. It's decent with your D10 fighters, mediocre with your D8 fighters, but it's actually pretty good with a Barbarian, because not only do they have the biggest hit dice, so they get the most healing, but on top of that, they are raging, so the healing is twice as effective. So definitely worth taking that 3rd level if you have a Barbarian in the party. Now that we're done with Druid, we're going into Cleric 1, and we're going to be going into Life Domain Cleric. This instantly makes our Healing Spirit far better. It makes it a fantastic sustained heal option. We technically also have the Goodberry Life Domain Cleric combination for a first level spell for 40 HP, most efficient healing you can do, but I personally don't allow that as a DM, and I expect most don't. But since I talk about Raw on this channel, it is there for you. Here we're also getting Sacred Flame, which I'm going to trade off with whatever the Druid was doing because I just like the flavor of it. Yeah, Toll the Dead is probably better, but we're a priest, I want that priest flavor, Sacred Flame. One of the biggest spells I'm going to recommend taking here is Ceremony. It might not be the most powerful spell ever, but it's the most priesty spell ever. And you never know, your DM might allow you to do some really cool things with it and have a lot of fun with it. I think it's a cool, flavorful spell. The last spell really to mention here is Bless. Not only are we going to be a healer, we're going to be a buffer, and Bless is a fantastic buff option at these levels. Cleric 2, we're going to get our Channel Divinity. This is just more healing. It's not the best heal in the game, but it's not bad either. It's more of represents an emergency heal. Cleric 3, we're going to get our second level Cleric spells. Spiritual Weapon stands out as a great combat option. And it's also worth noting that since we took some levels in Druid and then we went into Cleric, we're going to have higher level spell slots than we have spells to cast them. And Healing Spirit is a great spell to upcast. Now, once we hit level 5 in Cleric, we're going to get Aura Vitality, and that's largely going to trump what Healing Spirit can do, but Healing Spirit will have a couple niches. If it's cast at 5th level while we have 5 Wisdom, it will out-heal what Aura Vitality can heal. Until then, it doesn't out-heal it, but what it does do is it heals faster. Aura Vitality heals over 10 turns. Healing Spirit heals anywhere between 4 to 6 turns. And so even though we're not healing as much per spell slot, we're healing more per turn. So if we're fighting somebody who does a lot of burst damage, Healing Spirit has a niche where it can heal off a lot of damage quicker than what Aura Vitality can. Now all of this will be more relevant a little bit in the future, but right now we're going to Cleric 4. Cleric 4, we're just going to bump our Wisdom no matter what. We really need to get to our Wisdom to 5. Our character completely relies on it. If we happen to have an odd Wisdom, you can pick up a half feat. Fey Touched is the obvious choice. Getting Misty Step and a great first level spell to boot is always amazing and will give you more mobility, but it just doesn't feel priesty to me. The teleport doesn't feel priest. I feel like mobility is something a priest should struggle with, and I actually like having the wings be our mobility option that we get from our lineage. So I'm going to make a bad decision. You guys can all ignore this, but this is what I would personally do. I'm going to go Skill Expert, and I'm going to put that skill expertise in religion. Religion is normally an intelligence-based skill, and it's always weird that clerics can't really be that great at religion, so having expertise in it makes my character a religious expert, and I just like that flavor. I think it's a flavor win. Cleric 5, Aura Vitality. Aura Vitality, on average, is going to heal 120 HP for a single 3rd level spell slot over 10 turns. It's fantastic casting, and then you just go into your Guiding Bolt and Sacred Flame, and maybe the Archery Constellation to do some extra damage, and then just heal a bit every single turn, and that healing adds up. The combat ends, you still have 6-7 rounds where you can continue healing your team so everyone gets to full health. It's extremely efficient, consistent healing, but that's not all we get. We get Mass Healing Word here as well, which represents a burst heal. Yes, we have the sustained healing, but what if someone's getting drilled down really quickly? Well, now we can do a burst heal and bring them back up. Fantastic option for us. We also come with Beacon of Hope. If we have a combat where wisdom saves are really important, Beacon of Hope can really shine, and it also allows us to still do our healing job because it makes all of our burst healing maximized. So that's another great option to have in your back pocket for specific combats. This level is when Chalice, your Chalice Constellation style, is going to shine way brighter than it did before. Concentration now matters a ton. We may heal a little bit less, but we're going to heal so much more because we maintain our concentration when we take hits. So this is where Chalice begins to start shining, although the other two options still have plenty of space to be enjoyed. Cleric 6 brings us self-healing every time we heal. This is normally better for the tanky version of this build where we're in the front line taking hits. We still want to avoid damage here, but if we take it, it's nice that we can just kind of restore it off as we go. Cleric level 7, I think 4th level spells for clerics are a bit of a downer level. Personally, I'm looking at Divination as my primary spell to be casting quite often, but we come with a couple backup spells like Aura of Life or Aura of Purity. They're not meant for every combat, but the combats that they shine, they will shine. Then you have Freedom of Movement as another potential buff that you can give an ally who's potentially being restrained or something along those lines. So they have their place, but nothing shines super bright to me. This is around the level where Healing Spirit can actually outpace Aura Vitality, but we have to upcast it to 5th level to get there, so it's more of an expense, but you're going to heal quicker and ultimately more, so it is something to take into consideration. Cleric 8, we're going to get the Cleric's damage buff. We're going to be taking Tasha's variant damage buff. That's because it allows us to use it on cantrips, which we're going to be using all the time instead of weapons, and so it's just the obvious choice for us. We're also going to be maxing out wisdom at this level. As we move up in levels, we're just going to continue getting better spells. Mass Cure Wounds is better than Mass Healing Words, for example. Heal represents an excellent 70 HP burst heal whenever needed. We're going to get Summon Celestial, which is an excellent option for when the combat is more spread out and we can't just Aura Vitality people up and it's just too far, so now we have a big ranged damage option. We can mix it with our own archery constellation and our own guiding bolts to do a lot of damage as a mobile platform. Single target damage, this build can actually dish out heavily. As we get more ASIs, I'm going to be putting them into Constitution to make us more bulky and to make our concentration better. And once we hit level 17, we get a buff to our healing dice. Now, what's interesting is most high-level healing spells don't use dice at all. But what this does do is it makes our lower level healing spells, like Aura Vitality, far more efficient. So instead of doing an average of 120, it's going to do a flat 170 healing for a third level spell slot. Running Aura Vitality still makes some sense in some combats, even at these high levels, once we get our 17th level feature. So what we built here is the True Priest. We are going to be able to dish out holy damage to single targets primarily. We're going to be able to support our team by buffing them, as well as doing massive amounts of healing. This is a very specialized healing build. Sometimes we can a healing word and not only pick up an ally, but we also can use our chalice to heal up another ally. Sometimes it'll be an Aura Vitality where every turn they're getting healed. Sometimes it'll be a crazy burst heal with Mass Cure Wounds. The amount of healing this character can dish out, both burst and sustained, is fantastic, and there we go. We have ourselves a True Priest. Now, if you were given the same challenge, what would you do to build your True Priest? Let me know in the comments down below. But with that, my friends, hope you have yourselves an incredible day, and I'll catch you on the next one. Peace.